This is an introduction to the historical context of the book The Candy Bomber. So World War II was fought between the Axis and the Allied forces. The Axis forces were the bad guys. Nazi Germany was the big ringleader in that, Italy and Japan. Then on the Allied forces, we have the United States, France, Great Britain, and the Soviet Union, which later becomes Russia. The Soviet Union actually originally was fighting with the Axis forces, but they switched teams when Germany betrayed them. After World War II, Germany was destroyed, and a lot of the innocent German citizens were poor, devastated, homeless. Here's some pictures from post-World War II Germany. So after the war, the Allied forces decided that Germany couldn't be left to rule on its own, so they divided it into 4 different zones. Each one of the Allied forces took a different zone of Germany to control. Now the problem was that the Soviet Union got control of the piece of Germany that had Berlin, the capital. So all of the Allied forces said, hey, that's not fair. We all want a portion of Berlin. So they decided to also divide up Berlin. So Berlin was divided also into 4 segments, just like Germany was, with 1 section for the Soviet Union, aka Russia, 1 section for United States, 1 for Great Britain, and 1 for France. Now this came to be a problem when the Soviet Union decided that they didn't like the Americans, the French, and the British anymore after the war had ended. So they said, okay, you can have a piece of Berlin, but you can't drive on our roads in our zone, you can't use our rivers, and you can't do anything, you can't touch the land in the Soviet Union zone. So the Americans, the French, and the British decided to get together to fly supplies into their section of Berlin rather than giving it up. And that's an introduction to why we started what is called the Berlin Airlift, flying supplies into Berlin because the Soviets would not let us into their zone.